Okay. Cool. Well, welcome. Welcome to the first installment of Exploring Consciousness with MG. So
Hello.
Hi, darling. My name is Tina Grubmüller, and I'm a yoga and transformation teacher, healer, and the founding director of Synchronistic, which is a personal development company in London, based Southwest London. I just want to say a couple of things because it is our first one. So how this series was inspired actually by endless discussions with friends like Andrea and so many others and clients, on how to create a life with more ease, and just get rid of the crap, all that stuff that really doesn't serve us anymore. The programming and the conditioning, the social, the parental, the ancestral, and all that sort of stuff. So how does it work? We're gonna, I choose a subject, and then I invite, people to join me for a chat, just like what I've done with Andrea today. And then we record it, obviously, and then we just pop it onto social media. And if anybody wants to look at it, maybe it will be a contribution for them. We're going to chat, we're going to facilitate each other, ask questions and share tools and, just like any normal chat. So today I've got Andrea. Our subject is abuse and judgment. And Andrea Basilio, she is from Erase to Create. And just a couple of words for Andrea. She is an access boss and a facelift facilitator, mentor, a coach, and a facilitator too. And she's also a bodywork alchemist, which is quite fascinating. So Andrea, you know how this works because we always chat. We had a chat yesterday.
Yes.
And this is why we said, hang on a second, we said it, so maybe we should, just record it next time, and that's what we're going to do. So I don't necessarily know where this is going to go, but we'll just play and see what happens. We've got abuse and we've got judgment. Probably what I don't want to do is want to go into the heavy sort of physical and that sort of abuse because it is our first sort of Zoom. I think what I'd probably like to do is to take it into the abuse, looking at abuse from a slightly different perspective and actually saying, how much are we abusing ourselves? And how does this work? What does this look like? And what can we do? Because this was a little bit what we discussed yesterday, judging ourselves, judging others. And then how is that actually abuse?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just going to let you say a few words and then we'll just take it from there.
Yes, I think I agree with the abuse on a different level because we judge ourselves and obviously, we judge other people as well, even if you say you look good or whatever, that's judgment as well. But
yeah, that's a very good point. So let's define judgment, okay? Because, okay, so the opposite of judgment would be, as far as I'm concerned, awareness.
Yes.
And consciousness, which includes everything and judges nothing, where every single opinion, every point of view is just an interesting point of view, and
yes.
It's okay, right? Now that goes both ways, just like you said. It's negative, as we sometimes perceive as negative, but also the positive stuff.
Yes.
And what actually comes to mind here is I remember a couple of years ago, I used to do NLP, and I was sitting in one of those NLP, I don't know, it was one of those talks, evening talks. And the lady stood up and she said, passion is an ego value. And I thought, what are you talking about? That time it was like, oh, I'm so passionate about helping people. I'm passionate about this, passionate about that. And you know what? That never left me. Look at it now. She was right, because the passion sometimes comes through, in my case in particular, being a recovering martyr, I was like, I can help you. I can do something for you, even being lost, So that coming from a place of I'm doing something from a place of kindness is not necessarily a kindness. And that's a judgment too.
Yes, I have some experience in this, in my, not just in the past, but as I go along my learning and everything, like you say, it's awareness, and also allow the other person be whatever they wish to be without judgments. And what I realized that obviously if we judge ourselves and then we stop creating, but also if we judge other people, we stop creating. So when we remove all the points of views about everyone and everything, then we, like you said, we will be at ease and flow. And what I noticed recently, maybe since Monday, that my body is releasing. Kind of like, it's like releasing pain, releasing hurt, releasing the judgments, which is what we're talking about. Because like we said, judgments can be abused. So not just self-abuse, but maybe we judge a situation like, oh, this person hurt me, or this person I was so kind and this person wasn't. So it's like I realized this, and I made instant change, learned from this experience to say, okay, I really got deeply, deeply hurt, but it's still a judgment. So I release all the judgment about this situation, all the judgments about what I thought or whatever it was. And then my body started to slowly release all this access, whatever it was. And my life became more easier, things just flowed, and I didn't have to do anything. No force or nothing.
There's two things that stands out for me. And the first one is the connection that you're making to the body. Because the judgment we very much located always in the mind, isn't it? It's we align and agree, resist and react and all that sort of stuff. But how is it actually in your experience? How is it connected to the body, to the physical body?
In my experience, when I work with a client, I work with no judgment. So if I do alchemy and I put my hands on a client, no judgment.
So you have no judgment.
I have no judgments to the body, to the client, yes. But
okay, let me stop you right there. How do you do that? Is there a tool that, as we're chatting, blah, 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 is there a tool? Because it's say I have no judgment. How do you, when you do, and that's the alchemy body work, I think.
Yes.
Huh? So,
yes, I think you experienced this already. And you said that was like a very...
Yes. But is there a specific tool that you use before you start touching?
I think there are a few things I can... It's a bit difficult to explain, but if I had to, I would say first would be the totally of me, as in the pure potency of me, connect with all the elements, all the earth, all the planet. But most importantly, I do this automatically, but you could say be total allowance.
This is so good, because you just said something else now. I do it automatically. Okay, so so many things we do automatically, and we acknowledge them, and this is why we're having this type of chats here. Because you know what, just because you do it automatically doesn't mean that everybody
that's right
does it.
That's right.
So what is that that we do automatically that we could explore?
I was just going to it. So I could say this is an invitation for my hands or my body, and for the person's body. Total allowance, total invitation, total trust. So, but also to get back to your earlier question is, when I put my hands, I notice when that infinite being judges themselves. So when I put my hand with that zero judgments, total allowance, total invitation to expand that space, my hand just creates that ease in the body. And then when they wake up, they just they realize that they, whether they judge themselves, whether this what we are talking about, they come to the realization that what they're experiencing then and how was their body before. And I am the same, because when I had this experience and I realized, like, I said to myself, wow, I have a body. Because I kept so many judgments about me in my body.
Yeah.
And that's, like you say, is abuse as well. So
yeah. So correct me if I'm wrong. What I've heard was, in order to facilitate that non-judgment,
yes,
or in order to facilitate others, to assist them to let go of judgments, you have to become that energy, space, and consciousness of non-judgment, basically.
non-judgmental, yes.
Yeah, and you
And
said
be the invitation. Sorry.
be the invitation, yeah.
Be the invitation for that body to be the same, in total allowance, total, like you mentally, mentally I invite the body and my body to, or the body to show me where shall I put my hand, and the body normally knows, and my hand just moves accordingly.
Yeah. So
because of that non-judgment.
Yeah.
Yes.
So from a tool perspective, because you mentioned, connecting with the earth, connecting with nature, connecting with everything in that space in order to be that non-judgmental space. If we just say, you close your eyes and you just allow those barriers to drop. The walls of protection, the walls of, fighting and mainly these are the walls of protection, actually. You just drop them, and all we need to do is just do it.
Trust, total trust as well, the trust.
Yeah. But before we even go to that, that's another big topic for another session, really. But just to play with that and, just say, okay, barriers, whatever the protection is, we don't need to know what the walls look like, where they're from, all that. Just drop them down and start expanding yourself out, connecting to other beings, with bodies, without bodies, nature, animals, all of that. And that brings you into that state of connection, into that state of harmony, into that state of non-judgment, and then from there you can go on
into the true potency. Yes.
Yeah. So that could be one of the tools to really, really acknowledge and use. So barriers down is probably one of the first tools to start working with, especially when you get like, let's move away from the like healing, because not everybody's a healer out there. But people, when you get into a state of anger or frustration or whatever, sadness even, get really funky or something, you're just like, okay, drop the barriers, because all of that is judgment.
That's right.
All of that is judgment. You drop your barriers and you just expand out, and then see what happens to the body. This is quite amazing as you practice that with sacred discipline, a couple of minutes every day in all different situations. It makes a huge difference. Yeah.
Yes, that's what I started to do recently with the situation, and maybe one day I had a little cry, one day but everything just started to become very still and ease. It's like life started again. It's like like a.
Now let's explain that a little bit, because ease is not equal to easy. Okay, so I think it's
a flow. I don't know what's the.
No, it's when we look at my English is not my native language. So what I usually do, I look at the words, at the energy of the words. And lots of people misunderstand that when you say work with ease, create a life with ease, they think you're looking, okay, whatever, universe provides, you don't have to do anything and everything is easy. And that's not what we're talking about here. We're not talking about easy. We're talking about ease, which is a very different energy when you look at the energy of it. And ease is actually coming from a place of where you very well have to act. You have to get the work done. You have to. And the work starts with letting go of the judgments.
Yes.
Letting go of the bloody abuse of yourself,
Yes.
And the main thing is acknowledging where we are abusing ourselves. So let's talk about that a little bit. Where do we abuse ourselves? And I want to take it really down to a very, very simple level. I remember growing up in an environment where my opinions didn't count.
Mm.
And it was difficult because, you know, you then go into the judgment of self because you start thinking you're a total idiot because nothing what you say is good enough for this and that. So every time somebody actually talks you down or blames you or doesn't value your opinion, no matter how crazy it is, that is actually abuse.
Yes.
Isn't it?
I had the same experience. It's exactly the same. Yeah.
What tell us a little bit about that experience too, because it's almost too simple, because we're so used to it, to talking over other people.
I think yes, because over the time when you hear somebody saying certain things, you actually believe it's true, and then it becomes self-abuse because you believe it in your life. You stop creating in certain areas in your life. And on Tuesday, I actually had a word with somebody, and we find a root in my life where I believe that abuse and became actually self-abusing myself because I have been told I'm not so good at maths. And it's very simple, like you're not good at maths. It's very, very simple topic because I'm sure there are other people who think they're not good at it. But because I have been told so many times, I actually believed it. And in my whole life, it stopped creating a certain area in my life, and now we removed it. And suddenly things became easier, and like, wow, I didn't know this because I believed that I'm not good at maths, and I'm actually very good at maths.
So would it be correct in saying that you're not becoming a mathematician?
Who knows?
No, but what I'm actually saying is, you know, that type of conditioning, that you've had there, has so many different impacts on other stuff. It could have something to do with money. It could have something to do with how you run your household, you know, and things like that, right?
Yes. Most of it, I think it's about money, which is, getting, everything is now more ease. But I think when we did it, my body was releasing so many old memories.
Okay.
Could be parents, could be from other, other stuff. But actually, I'm good at maths. I'm very good at it. But because, you pick it up. It's like, somebody said to me, or they said, you can't, some certain body parts, they said, oh, you always put on weight there, or something like this. It's very simple again, very simple. And the person starts judging it, they put it on themselves, and it doesn't change because they believe it can't change. This is a similar issue, for example.
So this is it's interesting you mentioned that weight, because, we're all energy. Know that much. And every word, every thought, every feeling that we have has a weight to it. And it's quite interesting that, sometimes, and I've been working with quite a few people with weight issues, including myself, actually. My weight can go up and down. Within a week, I can lose a couple of kilos, gain a couple of kilos, depending on my emotional and mental state. Because it has, emotions and feelings have a weight that can be solidified. And this is what we talked earlier on. We can solidify our judgments into our bodies.
Yes.
That's where, body work is an amazing tool, whatever work. Be this now your alchemist sessions, or be this a Bowen session, be this massage, or any Reiki, whatever out there, to actually help the body to release all that crap, isn't it? And the other thing is what I find, and this has been one of my issues a lot in earlier days, and still today, I would say, is like when we have all this judgment and this overload of information, it's almost like our bodies can't digest it. So lots of people with overloaded nervous systems have issues with the digestive system.
Mm-hmm.
It can, go up and down with weight or contain water or, all sorts of things. So that's
Yes.
interesting too, isn't it, how this works? So doing the work, as we call it, as practitioners of and facilitators and all that, is not just, about playing with thoughts and feelings. It has such a huge impact on everything else.
Exactly. It's I mean, from what I'm hearing from people who came, or the feedback, the weight, like you said, the weight, it's like, oh,
what is weighing you down, right?
yes, what is weight? It is the burdens, and they just sigh, or the body just releases, or we're holding so many judgments in our body, so many beliefs and abuse, really, because like you say, which I like that you specified, well, not specified, but explained that when you judge others or you judge yourself, you can't create, you can't generate in your life.
And let's just say a little bit about that. I mean, my experience with that is, again, as a recovered martyr, or recovering still martyr, not martyr, no, recovering like that. To confuse the kindness, it's when you confuse being kind and connecting with other people and without permission and trying to help and all that bullshit, really. We are stepping in other people's universes. Yeah. So the judgment, and this is where judgment hurts us, by getting involved in other people's stuff, even if you're coming from a place of so-called kindness, because you want to help, and they are not ready to receive you and your help because they might not have even asked you for it, backfire onto you.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And that, when I first heard this, I thought, what? That was never in my, I imagine that. But when I first heard and talked about that concept, it made total sense because it happened to me so many times.
Yes, me too. Yes, me too.
Yeah, this is the big word of receiving, isn't it? I mean, judgment and receiving doesn't go hand in hand. If you're judging or being judged, there is a stop to receiving. It's like it creates total separation.
Yes.
And every time we go into separation, we're hurting anyway. We're hurting our bodies, our creations, because you can't create from a place of separation. This is where barriers down comes in, barriers down, connecting to the energy, space, and consciousness that we truly are, and creating from there. So again, in all these years I've been doing this work, I must say the key for me is, and probably will be for a long time, judgment.
Absolutely. Even when I learned the alchemy with Greg Briers, he said, you don't even have to have protection. You don't even have barriers, nothing. Because if you are just as you are, I think we spoke about this with you, with your lovely mother, that she just being as she is, she contributes to the world. So, like he was saying, just being who you are with no judgment, allowance, trust, invitation, you contribute to the world. And then things will be more at ease and flow in your life, and you will create and generate just by being that. So like you say, just that's it, no judgment. You don't even need nothing, just as you are.
I want to say something to that too, because that mustn't be misunderstood. By not having a judgment doesn't mean that we fall into this old light worker trap that everything is positive and everything is joy, because that is not the case either. But this is where awareness comes in. Awareness, again, includes everything and judges nothing. And there is no shit out there, and we can acknowledge that, but we don't have to judge it. So, and that's a good one to actually look at. What's the difference between judgment and awareness? What's the difference? Because we use awareness. And by the way, I just want to say, I want to make a mention of access consciousness, because we've been practitioners. I've been a facilitator for, I think, the entities at some stage. Access consciousness, Gary Douglas, Dane here, amazing people. So anybody who is interested in that, check out their website. Amazing tools. Going back to judgment and awareness, what's the difference? What's the difference for you?
For me, when I have total awareness, is, to be honest, it's ironic that we're talking about judgment, because you have total awareness when you have no judgments, right? So when you have total awareness, you don't have any judgments of anybody, really. And things like, so for example, if you say, okay, I'd like, be the energy of your awareness, or be the energy of your desire, or whatever, you wish to specify. And then you remove all the points of views and all the judgment about whatever it is you wish to do. And when you are in total awareness, when things appear in your life with ease, joy and glory, as we say in Access Consciousness, you're just aware of them. It's just, for me personally, I am very good at this.
It is what it is. You just be.
Yes.
So,
but if you have judgments, you can't be in this. Or if you have, you don't have clarity, or you have all these things in your mind. I mean, we can have awareness, I guess. I don't know. I mean, you can have awareness. I don't know whether it was good or right, or there's no right and wrong here. I guess I'm not sure. But
I think the way what's helped me in the past to look at it when I fall into judgment, I usually start having all sorts of emotions. The difference for me between awareness and judgment is when the emotion's coming in. And if I can just look at, just like you said, if I can look at the situation, good or bad, whatever that means, and say, okay, this is what it is, then that's it. But as soon as I start having a magnetic reaction, an emotional reaction, where it's like, oh my God, let's say somebody gets beaten up on the road. I'm like, oh my God, that shouldn't happen. That is the judgment. So I'm coming out of awareness and into judgment. Now, that doesn't mean that whoever's got beaten up should have been beaten up, but I can look at it from an awareness perspective and say, that's not right. Let me go get some help, but not get emotionally involved. Because if you get emotionally involved, you get dragged into the consciousness of the beaten one and the one who's beating up too. And usually then you do not have the clarity that you were talking about. Yeah. So I think this is a good, and the other thing I want to say, because the feeling side, when you go into the feeling comes from the heart space. And the heart space is, I don't know, 5,000 or more times stronger than any thought from the neurons in the brain are firing, So as soon as you come from a heart space, place, and you get dragged into a certain emotion, you got to really watch out. And even I would even say, even a positive emotion to a certain again, because you can then you get totally focused and you lose your peripheral vision, or your awareness. Where sometimes that one amazing stuff, not always, there's other stuff attached too.
Yes.
So this is where, from a place of awareness, that doesn't mean that you can never be happy and ecstatic, and yes, you can, but it comes from a different place, I don't know if that makes sense.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
I think judgments are like you said, if there was no judgment in the world, would be nice. But you know,
well. And
that's another judgment.
and yes, that's right. But what did we say yesterday is how can we use judgment to our advantage?
Yes.
Because the thing is, we can't control what comes through us, but we can control how we respond to it, right?
Yes.
So if people are judging us, and I suppose one thing we need to say too is the more you become aware, the more you don't react anymore, the more the less dense you become, the more light is coming through into your body, into your biology, and the more people will probably judge you. Because you become a beacon of light. You become a person of like, doesn't really care about stuff, but not in a nasty way,
Sure, yeah.
And then people are going to say, what? And you'll become successful too.
I think this had been mentioned at the alchemy class as well, that just be willing to receive any judgment.
Be willing to receive any judgment.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes. Be willing to receive.
So how that sounds good. So how do we do that? Give us a tool. Give us a tool. Give us a tool.
When I took another class with somebody else, like it was more like about money anyway. Beautiful people, I think you know them as well. It's about, they said, okay, so this person judged me. Okay, they always said it's just an awareness. So it's don't judge when you are being judged, or vice versa, because
don't judge. Yeah.
Or don't judge yourself. Just say, okay, this is an awareness.
Yeah.
Okay, this is just an awareness. What else is possible here? How can I change this? And also, okay, for this 10 seconds, I was not able to receive. How can I do that in the next 10 seconds? For example, as you know it from Access Consciousness. So just be aware, okay, this happened. So what can I change here? How can I add to my life? What else is possible to do? Because they always say, if you make a choice that, okay, I'm going to change this, they always say that creates a little bit of awareness in you. So if you're aware of it, like, okay, this is just an awareness and I'm going to change it. How can I change this? What else is possible?
Okay, so let me stop you right there, and apologies for that. But for people who are not familiar with Access, because other people will watch this too, it's really asking a question.
Yes, asking a question.
Asking a question. So when you get into a space where people are judging you, you get into this weird space of ask a question, any question. What else is possible? What do I do with this? How can I change this?
Yes.
Things you've just said. How can I use this to my advantage? Because what a question does, it changes the energy.
Yes.
So it gets you immediately any question and never look for an answer. So just work with the awareness that question brings up.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And just be aware that that's what they said, that this judgment is just, okay, just be aware of it. So it's no right, it's no wrong. Just be aware of it. Okay, this is what happened. Sorry?
There's another tool. The interesting point of view.
Yes, interesting point of view.
Explain that? You want to talk about that?
Well, it's just an interesting point of view. It's not my point of view. It's an interesting point of view. So you don't take it upon yourself that this is...
Exactly.
You don't agree to it in a simple way. You don't agree to that judgment, or you don't agree with somebody else's point of view.
Yeah. So to give an example, Andrea Basilio says to me, MG is a bitch. Interesting point of view. You might be right, but interesting point of view that she has that point of view that I am a bitch, right? Interesting point. And the thing is, you say it a couple of times, interesting point of view that she has that point of view, interesting point of view that she has that point of view. And you know what? Energetically, because we're working a lot on it. We are an energetic, is that a word? No. We work with energy. So energetica, that's actually a German word.
I'm used to it now. I was listening to German stuff.
energies. And when you use the interesting point of view, it's just an interesting point of view, and you can use that for anything. For the thoughts you have yourself, for the thoughts that are being projected at you, for things, for anything. And I remember when I first learned Access many years ago, they said if you use interesting point of view for every single thought, feeling, emotion that comes up, just for a week or for 3 days even, you're going to start creating a total clarity in your universe.
Or even just for a day.
Yeah, just for that. Now, you said to me that you're going to go for becoming a Access Bars facilitator.
Yes, I'd like to become an Access Bar facilitator. Not sure about the facelift facilitating. Could be a possibility, but I would like to become a...
Because that's what the bars do too.
Yes.
Bars is basically... explain what bars are, just for if anybody's interested.
Yes, the bars, Access Bars, are... when I experienced it personally, it was very kind of uplifting for my whole body. It wasn't like a massage, it wasn't like a meditation, but if it's an upliftment, not just the body, but obviously the mind. And there are 32 points on your head. And when somebody touches them lightly, then it's this electromagnetic charge that then releases whether it's fear or stress or anger or whatever it is that is locked in your body. And
so it basically gives you that clarity we were talking about. It's barriers down, but that's what it does. It helps you to clear your the crap, the monkey mind, when we talk about releasing the programming that doesn't work. So it's very good, and it's a nice physical tool, because lots of that work is, you got to really want it, you got to really choose it. If you go down that road for self-inquiry, self-development, it's not easy, but you can do it with ease. And the bars, I think, from my experience, they help to create with ease, because all you do, you lie down, you have no clue what's going on, you don't need to know what's leaving your head. Neither does the practitioner, which is good. So the practitioner can stay out of judgment, which is great. The less the practitioner gets involved in the procedure, the better it is. And then you just get up and you feel different or not, whatever. But the interesting thing is, you will see how you start reacting differently after a couple of bars sessions.
Most of my clients, after the first time, they feel much more ease. But they expand.
Yeah,
they expand. Yes, and that's what I plan in the near future. But in long term, I also...
You become a facilitator now. What does that mean? That you can actually teach people to become practitioners.
That's right. I teach people to become practitioners, and they can teach themselves and facilitate all the other events as well. So
cool. Okay, cool.
Yeah, so there's so many things.
Let's talk a bit more about abuse. Let's bring it back to abuse a bit more.
That's exactly what I was going to say with regards to this judgment.
There's a lot going on with abuse. That's one of your babies, isn't it? You work a lot with people who have been going through more than...
I have experience in it myself with different types of abuse, obviously. But I think it's... I think you said something there that, when we make a choice, we create our future, right? So if I make a choice now, we create our future. I'm going to create something different. So when we remove the points of views, we create something different, which is, the judgment. And what I wanted to say about abuse is, if anybody is watching this, and when we think or we say or we experiencing abuse, whether it's financial or spiritual or physical or mental or any kind of stuff, or self-judgment, that the reason I didn't know that, obviously, when I went through this, you don't really think like that, but you learn in time that
hindsight. Hindsight, yes.
So kind of we allow that to happen. I know it's hard to
Oh yeah, we create. Okay, what you're saying is we create our reality. Yes, yes.
So what I'm saying is, it's hard to acknowledge that it's not our fault if you will
Very good
abuse it, because nobody should hit anybody, nobody should hit
Yes.
anybody, nobody should be abusive to anybody. We know that shouldn't
Yes.
happen, because
Yes.
it creates really bad things in depression, stress, suicide, etc. But what I'm saying is that and that's why I think Access and what you do as well with all your Akashic stuff, it's so amazing that when we say to ourselves, stop, then, and we don't even have to protect ourselves, like we said, we don't even have to have barriers, but that abuser will stop. When we choose to judge the other person, number one, when we choose to say this is going to stop, things will change. I know if somebody is watching this and they're being abused really badly, I get it's hard. I get it. I've been there. But we spoke about this with you, that we say, okay, if you don't allow somebody to abuse you, they will not abuse you, right? That's what we say.
Yeah, so, it is a very a tough one to tell.
That's right. Yes.
No awareness around that. I get
it's tough, because when you are in it, when I experienced many types, but when I was in one situation, because I was in it too deep, I couldn't see. I couldn't see what I allowed the other person to do with me.
Yes. Okay, so
and somebody else, obviously I spoke to somebody and they said this, and I thought, oh my God. And I actually almost went into suicidal thoughts, because I just said, wow, oh my goodness, how did I let this happen? But of course, I'm a strong person, so I got out of it, so I get it.
Well, you know what? Let me add something. Let me add something to that. I would actually like to go so far to say that anybody who has chosen to work, to be abused, to abuse, to work with abuse in his lifetime is a strong person. Okay? Because we would never choose anything that we wouldn't be able to deal with.
Yes.
Okay, so that comes from number one. Are we going to see that when we're in it, as you say? Not necessarily. I think in order to if we wanted to inspire somebody to let go of their abuse or to start getting out of it, I think we need to go back to, suggesting a question. What is this? What do I do with this? How can I change it?
That's right.
Keep making it your mantra. What is this? How can I change this? And what can I be and do to create something different? And just work with those questions. And then really, at the end of the day, the universe has your back.
Yes.
Yes, it's like a saying, and what the hell does that mean? But by asking the question, things will come into your reality. And then you have to take action upon that.
Yes.
But it's not sit there and, everything's going to be okay. And
that's right.
But I think it always starts with the acknowledgement. Well, this does not bloody work for me anymore. Okay? This is where what you're saying is the choosing. Now, choosing for you, choosing is not a word, Andrea, that I find easy to give to people in a space of that. When they are.
Of course. Yeah.
Because choice is, I've been working with choice at least for a year now. Looking, what the hell does choice actually mean? What does it mean? Universe, show me what choice looks like. It's not a word we grow up with. It's not a word we are taught. It's such an elusive energy for us. Because, of course, through the social conditioning and the parental conditioning and, your ancestral conditioning, this is the whole point for us to come from challenge. I call my journey from challenge to choice. Because choice is it. It's like non-judgment, choosing, choice, non-judgment. So I think just to go back to saying, question, stay in the question. What else can I choose here, if you want to use the word choice?
For me personally, before even that, what helped me, it's very, very simple. Anybody can do this. Because I was in this state, I had all these judgments that, like I already said, okay, this either this is going to happen, or this might happen, or this might happen. But I made these judgments before I educated myself. So if somebody is in this situation, it costs nothing. Please ask somebody, go and speak to somebody and educate yourself what your choices are. When you said ask the question, okay, but educate. And then that's what I did.
Okay.
And I said, oh my God. So all the judgment I thought wasn't even true. So we create these judgments.
Okay.
So ask somebody, okay.
Yeah.
So can you tell me, because there is help out there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of free help.
Yeah.
Nowadays.
Yes.
Yes. Educate, just say, okay. And then you can say, it's not as bad as I thought it was. Yeah. It's true.
Well, that's the thing, because every judgment and abuse and all of that, once you're in that state, what is the emotion that is attached and accompanied to all of that is fear.
Yes.
Fear is obviously an emotion of the future.
Yes.
And most of the times it's missing information, is exactly what you're saying.
Yes.
But, by staying in the present moment and educating yourself, going out there, checking out those sources you mentioned, and, you can always, I don't know, we can pop something maybe into I don't know how this works. But anyway, write some sources down. You might know some stuff, from your experiences. And get that missing information. And that brings you immediately back into empowerment.
What happens is I met somebody actually 3-4 weeks ago who actually needed this help. And I said, look, and she was also not in a very good state of mind. And I said to her, look, there is a source you can go to and educate yourself. And she did. Yeah. So she now, I said, look, there are things out there. You can help yourself. Just educate yourself. And then you can decide what you want to do or which way you want to go or, things like that.
Yeah.
Because there are people out there who are suffering in silence and just, not just they're taking it, but they are doing it to themselves.
Yeah. It's just part of the stuck state. The initial thing is, to create an awareness that there are other possibilities out there.
Yes.
Then take it from there.
And if anybody is watching this before the 9th of September, which is on Sunday, I'm doing a free mental awareness, suicide awareness, mental health event. So if anybody is interested to come and have access bars or facelift or anything they want to uplift from their life, or they're suffering from any kind of abuse, then contact me, and my email is info@andreabasilio.com. It's info@andreabasilio.com. Contact me in confidence and I can book you in.
Fabulous. I didn't know you had that, but that's good. But what we do is, if I figure out how to upload that on social media, which should be
it's easy.
Then
easy.
Well, that's the point of view. An interesting one. I can't. No, I will. And then we can all put information on it or whatever. Okay, cool. What else can we talk about that could be a contribution to both of us and maybe to anybody who is listening or watching that?
I think the really good one is, I know there are many people in these situations, because I'm sure all of us have been there. And this is don't know, I will let you to maybe help people to explain. A lot of people are unwilling to lose it all because they think, I've created all this.
Good one.
And they say, I don't want to lose it. I'd rather suffer in silence and abuse, for example, or with anything, not just but because there's so much stress and pressure on everything, especially money, they just give up because, like we said, they're either not educated about what their choices are, what possibilities are. But the way I have been this explained, just meaning you don't have to lose it all, but be willing to.
Yeah. So it's in
a way that trust yourself that you can create. I don't know what you can add to this, or how can you explain this even more simpler? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
In your own.
Yeah, no, it's good. Good point you raised it. Well, what comes up for me is that old story that as long as you are in resistance to something, you cannot change it because you're holding it in resistance. Every resistance you have, just like what you're saying, is of losing something. And very often the judgments with regards to abuse are, of losing something, be that not clear. Because, so as long as you're in resistance to something, you can't actually change it. So by letting go of that resistance, by energetically allowing yourself, being willing to destroy and uncreate everything that holds you in that resistance.
Yes.
One. And you don't know what that is. Just being willing to do that. And also be willing to lose everything. Just like you said, it's just that. It's just run that clearing. Everything I'm not willing to, everyone, everything, who or what I'm not willing to lose, I now destroy and uncreate. And you don't need to know what that is. And it doesn't mean that you have to get rid of the husband or the mum or the dad or the daughter or the whoever. It just means that energetically, you're making a stand. You're coming out of victimhood. And you say, you know what? It doesn't work for me. I'm willing to lose it all. Because I know I can out-create it. I can create more.
Yes.
That's the other link to that. And you know what? You don't need to know what that looks like.
Yes.
You need to know the how. You just need to be able to have no view about not losing it.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. No judgment about willing to lose it all. Right.
No judgment, exactly. That's what holds you in the abuse.
Yes, because, yes, I get it. So no judgment about willing to lose it all.
That's it. And again, that doesn't mean that you're going to lose it. It just means that you destroy that resistance, that energetic resistance around it.
Yes.
Yeah. And in addition to that, having spoken about the magnetics, we being electromagnetic, our makeup is electromagnetic. So magnetic is the emotion, and the electrics is the thoughts that, accompany the emotion. They're electric. So it's a little bit like what you're thinking is what you attract. And it's not just the thought, it's the whole belief system. Because what is a belief? A belief is a thought that you keep on thinking over.
Like a program. You program your body like that. So that's what's going to happen.
You got your program, and that's how you create your reality. So by changing the thinking, the thoughts, but not just that, also the emotion around it, releasing it. That doesn't mean that you let go of the experience itself. Yeah, you're not losing memories. You can keep the memory if you want to, but you take the attachment, the resistance, the emotion away from it. And then it has no charge anymore. And then you should say, well, that's what happened. And see the gift in it, because...
What's right about this? Yeah.
What's right about that? See the gift in everything that we're attracting into our lives, everything that we're creating that doesn't work or does work. See the gift in it. And use that gratitude, because what is actually, that's a good one, what is the antidote to judgment?
Gratitude, yeah.
Because if you do gratitude with whatever, whoever, you can't judge. It doesn't go.
Yes.
The energy does not allow judgment.
Yes.
And, I'm grateful to my green drink. So you can start, if you have nothing grateful about bullshit, you've got a pen's working. Oh, I'm grateful for the pen is working. That's what stuff. So, and that's really a choice. That's really a choice and a practice. and a discipline. And, you know, for people like me who don't like discipline, call it sacred discipline.
Mm-hmm.
It's a different energy. I don't know if you can perceive that. For me,
Yes, yes.
it's like, you have to do this. It's too authoritarian. This is where I've come from. I don't need this crap. No.
Mm-hmm.
Sacred discipline, completely different energy for me. So I don't know. You can play with that. Sacred discipline allows me to, okay, that's sacred. That's nourishing. That's valuing for me. That brings it back to me again, not to what other people tell me that I have to do.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. And also this, what we talked about, goes for the business, for the money, you know, really unwilling to lose it all. Is the same thing. Not just
Goes
with
with
people, but
goes
with
with
everything.
Yeah, goes with everything. Yeah, and it holds us, it keeps us stuck to create more.
Yes.
It keeps us limited. Abuse, judgment keeps us limited.
And that's when the fear comes in as well. Fear of unknown, you know, what's going to happen if I do this, what's going to happen.
Exactly. And this is, of course, when we go into the future. Fear, as I said before, is an emotion of the future. As soon as you get out of the present moment of now and you start jumping up, you know, that's when the fear kicks in. The fear is an illusion. I mean, we know it's a distractor. So just let it go. Let it go. Take it back. And, you know, I do yoga. So I've started doing more and more Kundalini yoga to really work with the breath. Because when you start breathing and you use the body and your belly is going up and down, your dantian, your power center, start connecting the belly with the vocal box and everything, you know, you automatically come out of it. You come into the present moment because you know the body does not know any difference between past, present, and future. In fact, the body only knows the present moment, the body itself.
Yeah.
So breath is the tool. Breath is the key, is your technique to come back into the present moment. As soon as you connect to your breath, and this is why breathing, yoga, any type of breath, really, is so powerful.
Yes.
Because it brings you back into the present moment.
When we did your restorative yoga, when I when I went to yours with all the other girls, it was just very, of course, it was in the present, but it was just so expansive. You just, you know, rooted yourself kind of peaceful, and then you let go of whatever it was blocking you or stopping you or whatever it is.
Do you know, it hasn't been easy because when I first started, I've been doing yoga for many years, you know, but when I became a teacher, I just focused on the asanas, you know, the postures, because you thought, okay, you have to be able to do all those in order to teach it. And my body just said, I don't think so. My body actually said to me, no, because I was in pain when I did yoga, more often than not. So I had to really look at it and say, body, well, what are you trying to tell me here? And in judging myself for not being able to do the handstands and to do all that, I had to look and say, where's the gift in that? And the gift in that was the catalyst for me to look more into the breath work and to look more into a different style that I had to create myself, you know. But it was a lot of judgment. There was a lot of ego mind, you know. It had to be the struggle and you had to practice for hours. And really? Is that an awareness or is it a judgment?
Yes.
Conclusion, a decision, a judgment, an expectation. See, this is the other thing where the expectations are coming in and the projections of others, you know, and all that sort of crap that we just have to let go. Okay. Fantastic.
Yes.
Well, this is soon. I thought we were going to run.
Really...
I didn't think.
So many things.
We usually talk forever.
Yes.
Well, we've done an hour, so that's fantastic. Do we have anything to conclude? We want to say anything? Is there anything that you wanted to say? Oh, aligning and agreeing. I wanted to say that because that's been such a good thing to look at. Every time, everywhere you align and agree with somebody, you resist and react, you're going into judgment. So almost like everywhere you have an opinion, a very strong opinion, and you have to make it known, you have to be right, you have to defend, you know, your opinion in front of others, that's a judgment. And just get the energy of that, having to defend your opinions, having to defend that you're right, having to fight for being right. Now, look at the energy of that, how draining that is.
Yes.
And how much other people you attract, you need to do the same, and then you've got a hick hack and this and that and this and that. And that's not ease. So creating a life with ease is actually allowing other people to have their opinions. If they fit, you know, it's like you and I having a conversation. We're not, you say something, I say something. I might not agree with what you're saying all the time. You might not agree with me. It's okay, because we're just having, you know, we are inspiring each other. We are facilitating each other with every conversation we have. And that's a choice. So I don't walk away and I feel like drained or heavy. I need a drink. Exactly. No, it's actually, oh, wow, I learned something. You know, a contribution. I got a contribution. And that type of conversation is very different. And we don't align and agree, resist or react. We just like, I don't know, everybody just says whatever they want to say. And then we take one thread and we go further. I think, you know, I mean, yes. I the type of conversation. So thanks very much for coming on, for being the first one of this.
Thank you.
You know, exploring
Number one,
MG, talking about abuse and awareness. And, you know, I have to probably bring you back on and then we take it, because that's such a big, broad subject. But I'm glad we stayed within the judgment, you know, because that's really where everybody can. Yes. Because we're all being abused, we're all abusing ourselves. And I think this is the end line. We can leave that meeting. It's like, we're all doing it. And it's okay.
Yes.
So let's become aware of it and see what else is possible. What else, how can we change that? And work and create with a bit more ease.
Exactly. And this is also education. Like you said, for us, for anyone, you know, maybe somebody will watch this and maybe save one life, and that's worth this contribution.
Yeah.
You know, so
cool. Fabulous. Well, I had fun. That was the main thing. And this is what this series. I want to have some fun, and I had some. So thank you so much, darling.
Great.
Let me see how.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Take care. Bye.
Thank you. Take care. Bye. Bye.